Stretching the Word. I'm your host, Sister Valerie. And not today, devil. Just not this year. Oh man, lately this sun has been so bright. Man, that light is really so bright. These lights are so bright. Today's word is light. And we know that the sun, the moon, the stars, that they are all created lights. And yes, they are bright. But what does light mean in the Bible? It says, it represents, believe it or not, holiness. Light represents holiness. It represents goodness, knowledge, wisdom, grace, hope, and God's revelation. Jesus said he was the light of the world. So God's revelation to us, one of them was Jesus. And it said Jesus is the light of the world. So we got all of this holiness, goodness, grace, hope, God, through God's revelation, Jesus Christ himself. And then Jesus is the light of the world. So what else do we have? Jesus' light, his presence is so great. The presence of Jesus, it is so great that it just knocks out darkness. It just cuts through all forms of darkness. And we know darkness represents sin. So when Jesus showed up, that's why sin no longer could stand. That's why it had to become a judgment against sin, against the darkness, because the light showed up. The knowledge showed up. The wisdom showed up. The hope showed up. The holiness. All of these things showed up, none of which you find in darkness. So Jesus is the light of the world. He brings such a presence. His presence brings such a light, a brightness, that whether you want to acknowledge it or not, it just pow in your face. Yeah. When you show up and the presence of God is with you, oh, believe it or not, people know a difference. They might not never say nothing to you. And then sometimes people say, wow, I don't know what it is about you today. I don't know what it is, but you got this glow about you. So the presence of God, the light of God, the light of Jesus shines on you, and it should shine through you as well. You don't have to, as they say, advertise. You don't have to advertise that you've been in the presence of Jesus. You don't have to advertise that, hey, you've been seeking his face. Just that light, the light itself, the presence of God, the presence of Jesus, the wisdom. When you open your mouth, when you begin to talk to them, they'll know that, hey, this knowledge is not of man. This knowledge and wisdom did not come from society. It's not sensual. It's not carnal, but it's the light, it's the knowledge, it's the wisdom of Jesus. And then what else does it say? It says we should possess that same knowledge, that same holiness, that same wisdom, the same revelation that Jesus had. We should have it as well. Let's go to Matthew, the 5th chapter. Just going to end here on a scriptorial note, since you say, well, that sound good. That sound good, but people always go, well, give me some word. Well, guess what? I've been giving you word all the time. And if you are aware and know your word, you will know that it's all word. Just because I don't get all deep in, thus says the Lord, and in Thessalonians, and Habakkuk, and you'll find it. It's all the word. It's just in a simplified form. Because nobody, or I should say nobody, everyone cannot relate to thus thou and thus say the Lord. So you have to feed people spiritual through a natural means. So let's see. That was Matthew 5 and 16. And King James Version says, let your light. Remember I said we are to possess the same light that Jesus has. So it says, let your light, your. See, it's good to worry about me, but we have to take this for our individual selves. Yeah. So let your light so shine before men that they may see your good works. Remember I told you light is represented with all the good things. So it says your good works and glorify your Father which is in heaven. Now, if we go to another translation, let's just switch that for a minute and see if it gets a little clearer. Well, not really, but I'll read but it says, even so, let your light be shining before men, so that they may see your good works and give glory to your Father in heaven. So in this case, we can say it's all about you, but it's still never about you. Everything always points back to the Father, because if it wasn't for him, we wouldn't be able to do good works. This is God's revelation shining through us and upon us, that we can have hope. We can walk in holiness. We can have knowledge, wisdom, and the revelation of God. One last thing. An old song, and it said, which I understand the word little, but there's nothing little about God. But the song says, this little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine.